Welcome back to our Book Talk segment. Great to welcome one of the co-authors. Very interesting book and a very a helpful book, I'm sure. It is called The Atlas of Disappearing Places, Our Coasts and Oceans in a Climate Crisis, and it deals, obviously, with coastlines and water and what's going on as far as the climate goes there, and maybe what we can do to hopefully change things or make things better. We're joined today by Christina Conklin. She, along with Marina Saros, are co-authors of this book, and Christina joined us by phone today, I believe, from California. And Christina, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I'm near San Francisco, right next to the ocean.
You said Half Moon Bay. I didn't know what part of California that was. That's up by San Francisco. Okay.
Yep.
Well, you know as well, I guess, as I do down here in Florida. You live near the water like I do, so we're dealing with our own issues down here in Florida with red tide and always with coastal things. So I was particularly interested in reading your book, and I know your book kind of goes all throughout the entire world, U.S. and all over the world, with situations that are a little intimidating, I guess, for people to look at. But I guess we have to, right?
Right. I think our point in writing the book was to really look, as honestly as possible at what the scientists have found is happening all over the world in different systems. Everything from, the science of what's going on in the deep ocean with organisms, facing all kinds of, like, oxygen levels have dropped and the ocean is more acidic than it used to be. These are measurements that are also predicted to get worse in the coming decades. So it's both looking at the ocean as a complex biological system that we all depend on, right? So half the oxygen we breathe comes from microorganisms in the ocean. So we really need to pay attention to the ocean in a way we don't necessarily usually do on a daily basis, but it does affect us all.
Yeah, I don't really think about it. I guess most people don't, that we always think of it comes from trees, most of the oxygen we get. But reading your book, I didn't realize how much, like you just said, came from the ocean. It's interesting to know. Yeah,
I think actually most of, if you measure the weight of all life on Earth, most of it's in the ocean, and it's mostly microscopic. So it seems like it might not be significant, but it has so much to do with the life processes that sustain us all, that creates the weather systems, and the very oxygen we breathe. So it is important to pay attention to even the things that we can't see. Of course, what we can see in a place like Florida is, sunny day flooding that comes up because of rising sea levels. Mm-hmm. Sea levels have already risen 8 to 10 inches, and they're on track to rise another 3 and possibly even 5 or 6 feet just in the next coming decades. And it's not going to stop after that. So unless we really change our relationship to fossil fuels and the energy industry, we have an awful lot of difficulties ahead of us.
I know you talk a little bit in the book about it, but is most of the situation, rising water levels and all that, is it percentage-wise most of it from man-made pollution, or is there some natural things that happen no matter what we do? That I know we can prevent it with a lot of, don't pollute and all that, but are natural things occurring too, right, that we have no control over?
Well, there are natural cycles always happening, but what's happening right now is that we have put a lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere from burning fossil fuels.
Right.
And the amount we have in the atmosphere right now we have not had this situation for 3 million years. So that has definitely been shown to be, vast majority of it from burning fossil fuels. And that's really the thing we need to look at. If we're going to change the story for our children and our grandchildren, we need to go to a clean energy economy and take that number back down to a safe level where seas won't continue to rise for the hundreds of years to come.
Let's talk a little bit about how you put the book together, and you really did a great job, you and your co-author Marina, with not only the text and the drawings as well, but the way you did the drawings I thought was kind of unique. You use dried seaweed. I'd never heard of that before. That was kind of interesting.
That's right. No, I kind of came up with that technique. I was actually in the Arctic researching this book and found seaweed washing up on the shore there, and I started painting on it. And so I realized that how great it would be to take a material from the ocean to illustrate the changes that are happening in the ocean. And it has this sort of beautiful parchment-like quality. And I created them in layers on top of a more traditional map to show where the changes, whether it's the Pacific garbage patch in one map or a social vulnerability map of New York City. So the scientists' climate maps are actually, I layered them on top of of a sort of a standard existing map to show how these things are intersecting and what we need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, great idea. And you talk about New York. I'm a native New Yorker, so that was a particularly interesting chapter for me as well. I know with the tropical storm that came through there a few years ago, which we had a couple when I lived up there, but nothing like that. I was glad I was down here at that point. But New York is really obviously surrounded by water, so they're dealing with it as well.
Well, so for New York, for example, and like so many, 2/3 of the world's major cities are on coasts. And so New York has 525 miles of shoreline, and you can't really build a wall around an entire city that's going to have, rising seas and storms coming more and more often. So what we really need to be thinking about is long-term solutions and changing our planning laws and where we develop things and where we build things to build out of harm's way. And the same would be true in Florida. We right now we're suffering from real short-term thinking. And part of that is because the changes that happen in the ocean and in the climate take a while to catch up for scientific reasons, with the amount of carbon that's already in the atmosphere. It can take decades. So more change is going to come faster as we approach the middle of the century. And I think people are already feeling a little bit stunned by the heat waves and the storms. And it's all going to get worse unless we really make some fairly dramatic changes now to our laws and our policies and the way we shop and live.
Yeah. I know you don't have Florida particularly in the book, but do you have any idea what's causing all the red tide down here?
Yeah, well, we do have it. I do have a chapter on harmful algal blooms, and harmful.
I did see that.
Yeah,
right. Yep.
Yeah, and so it's related. So the red tides is a kind of harmful algal bloom, and it happens when we put too much fertilizer on our farmlands, and all of that fertilizer washes into the ocean, and there are dead zones all around the coast of the world, but the Gulf is in particularly bad shape, along with many other places. And it has to do with an overconsumption of fertilizer on our farms. And so that's, again, something that we could be looking at in terms of, upstream policy that has an effect on our oceans. And then it causes, fish kills and red tides and all kinds of misery. So, these things are all related. And that's another way in which, how our inland areas are related to our coastal areas, and it's all one big interconnected system.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of what I thought. It had to do something with pollution, and you also hear the other theory, well, just a natural occurrence. Nature doesn't do that unless there's something irritating it. So I'm glad you wrote something in the book about that. Because it really shuts down the beaches down here.
We're aggravating Mother Nature. And actually, another chapter I wrote about the plankton in the ocean and the kind of the systems of the healthy systems in the ocean. We're going to have more jellyfish in the coming decades.
Oh, no.
Because they like a warmer ocean. Yeah, I mean, we have to wake up and pay attention now, or a lot of these things are just going to become worse and worse.
One of the strangest creatures God ever created, but I guess there's a purpose for them, but they're not pleasant.
No, but the other thing is that every chapter we wrote a story from the viewpoint of 2050.
I was going to say, you had a future part of it, yeah, which is good.
Yeah, because we wanted to talk about what's possible and pragmatic possibilities for like what we can do as individuals and as communities to build community resilience and come together and kind of re-find our relationship with the natural world so that we don't feel like it's a man versus nature situation anymore, but we really kind of partner with nature to build healthy communities and recover the health of our planet, which is right now, as you said, is coming to bite us because we've done some damage and the system is responding.
I know we're just about out of our allotted time. Again, I want to give the title once again, The Atlas of Disappearing Places, Our Coasts and Oceans in the Climate Crisis. And we've been talking with Christina Conklin today. Marina Saros is her co-author, also great illustrations, but like you said, kind of tough material to look at, but if you don't look at it, nothing's going to change. But like you said, you have the future kind of paragraphs in there that there is hope. So that's good. You leave us on a positive note, Christina.
That's right. We can all act locally, and we can all build a better future.
Give out your website, if you will. People get more information about the book.
Yes, you can find out more about my artwork and writing at ChristinaConklin.com. And the book publishes today, so it's available everywhere today.
Great. We'll also put a link on our site as well. But Christina, great talking with you. Good luck with the book, and hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.